Alrighty, a lot of y'all have been asking about or asking for more clarity on these like spicy 5 chords. So I'm going to try to break down a little bit better my approach to these chords. But basically, what I'm doing is, let's say we're going to this F chord. Common jazz progression would be take the second chord to, G minor, to 5 to C, and then to F on 1. Now we can obviously put extensions on that G minor and then put, the basic extensions on that C7. But this C chord is really like the one that allows us to add all that spiciness and cool chords. So if I have just like a C7 going to an F, on that C7, I have a bunch of possible options for chords that I can stack on top of it. So if I have my little C shell, okay, so let's say we take this 2. So the second interval, we make a D major, and that gives us a 9, a sharp 11, and a 6 or 13 or whatever that is. Then our next possible option would be to go up to the minor third and stack a major chord off of that. Another option would be to go to the tritone and stack a major chord on there. We could go to a minor 6 and stack a major chord on that. You could go to a major 6 and stack a major chord on that. So what I kind of did to get used to this is I just practiced, like I have a C, I can put a D on it. I have a C, E flat, C, G flat, C, A flat, C, A. And you just sort of go through each chords. So let's go up chromatically to D flat. Okay, so I can put the 2 on there. I can put the minor third. I can put the tritone. I can put that minor 6. And I can put the major 6. Okay, so those are the options. Now, it's taken me a lot of time to sort of figure out like which chords work best in which scenarios, because that doesn't really, tell you how to use it. So let's go back to C and then going to F. Okay, so let's try the first option. We're going to go C and this D major on top. Okay, so this to me has a sort of major sound to it because it's, it's very bright and it's going to this F major 7 nicely. Like it's very natural. Where this chord, it'll still get you to that chord, but it's a little, for me, like because this note has this E flat, this B flat, and this G in it, that's to me sharing more notes with F minor, right? So I would say that certain chords go more sort of easily into the major chord and some go more easily into the minor chord. And so that's sort of this idea of like being in versus being out. If I play G minor to this C with a D on top, like that doesn't sound too crazy. It's pretty close to in the key, even though I have an extra note in there, accidental. I can do G minor and do this A major, and that leads very nicely into that F chord as well, is sharing a lot of notes on that like major side of things. Now, if we do C with E flat or C with A flat, the minor third or the minor 6, that leads really nicely into F minor. And then this tritone, this is sort of like right in between. This tritone could go any way. So C with an F sharp or G flat on top of it, that goes equally nice to F major or equally nice to F minor. So that one's sort of ambiguous and you can go either way on it. So let me try to make this a little bit more succinct. If I'm going to F major, okay, I can do the 2, the major 2nd, or the major 6. and those will go pretty seamlessly into that major chord. If I'd use the minor intervals, so if I use the minor third or the minor sixth above, and these go nice into each other too, like, so you can do kind of a 2-for-1 deal, and even to the tritone. So yeah, it's really just experimenting with like how in or out you want to be. Like a common thing is, let's say we're going from this D flat major to the C7 to the F minor, you know, like what you won't do for Love or Finesse or, you know, Just the Two of Us, any of those songs that follow that pattern. When I'm targeting that C, so I'm in D flat and I go to C7 and then to F minor. For me, I will like, my hands will naturally gravitate towards the minor ones. So the minor intervals, D flat, and then I can go hit that A flat or E flat, A flat. See, this is very much sounding in because it shares a lot of notes with the F minor key that we're already in. So those are real smooth in that. Watch what happens if I use one of the major ones. That major one sticks out a lot more if I put the D chord on top of it. Same with the A chord. See how those are kind of jumping out of the key and we land back into the key? It's still pretty smooth. But it's just the way that I think about it is if I'm trying to like be slick with it and not let anybody know I'm adding these fancy notes to my chords, then a lot of times what I'll do is if I'm going to a minor chord, I'll use the minor intervals. And if I'm going to a major chord, I'll use the major intervals. And then, you know, obviously this tritone can just sort of go either way. It doesn't really matter. So that's pretty much the idea. So G minor, we can do the C over A or the C over D and get real smoothly into F major, no sweat. And similarly, if we are on this D flat chord and then going to the C, we can play that A flat or E flat and get into that F minor nicely. So that all sounds very in. If I were to use one of the major intervals, so it almost has this like climbing up thing, but I almost hear it. See, that's like way more smooth. So it's just an experimentation thing, you know. The major intervals are more in with major chords. The minor intervals are more in with minor chords. The tritone is going to be a little bit spicy regardless, so it's always an option. And then you can either like satisfy the listener's expectation of what they're going to hear, or you can set them up like maybe the first half of the song we do. And then the second half of the song we go. The way that I would practice this is if you're in like a band or playing at church or any situation where you're just playing songs. If you're playing a chord progression over and over and over again, which oftentimes you are, it's just like a great playground to experiment with these things. So what I would recommend is, let's say you're playing, you know, this classic sort of R&B chord progression, this D flat to C7 to F minor, you know, just jam that. And then every time experiment with a different version of that C7 chord. So maybe the first time, hit that D first. And then the second time, hit the E flat. And the third time, hit the G flat. And then hit the A flat. And then lastly, hit the A. All right, bonus chord. So let's get rid of the third. We're just gonna play this fifth here. And then if you add this flat 7, that's actually more of like a sus chord, and I use that all the time too. It doesn't technically count as a dominant polychord to me because we're not utilizing the tritone or whatever, but it'll still get you there. Like you can go. very common. Or even do the flat 7 to the... So yeah, there's no strict and hard rules to it. There's just like common things that you'll hear. But obviously, you know, what makes it interesting is doing what your audience doesn't expect. So maybe just, you know, set them up with a couple of these minor chords first, and then hit them with a big major chord here. I hope that helps. Have a good day, everyone.